least 44 people today, according to the territory's Civil Defence Agency. Among the dead were 23 individuals from a single family home in Al-Bureij refugee camp in central Gaza. Civil Defence official Mohammed Al-Mughayir reported multiple injuries and several missing following the attack, which targeted the Kareni family residence. 4 people died when a vehicle was targeted in Gaza City, while 8 others were killed in a strike on a residential home in Jabalia. In a separate incident, Gazan officials confirmed that 4 people lost their lives when a United Nations food warehouse was stormed. The World Food Programme has raised the alarm, calling for immediate aid to prevent a deepening humanitarian crisis and starvation across the Gaza Strip. Meanwhile, Israel's far-right finance minister, Bezalel Smotrich, has announced the establishment of 22 new settlements in the occupied West Bank, a decision widely condemned under international law and by human rights organisations. On the diplomatic front, European countries including Ireland, Norway, Spain and Slovenia have issued a joint statement. They reaffirmed their support for the implementation of a 2-state solution, urging both sides to return to dialogue and peaceful negotiations. Well, joining us to discuss these developments is Martin Sa-Arrayas, an international affairs expert who's joining us from Quito in Ecuador. Martin, as always, thank you ever so much for joining us. Further strikes reported in the Gaza Strip today. This, of course, amid an ongoing humanitarian crisis, with humanitarian organisations saying that potentially millions face famine, potential starvation as well. Why do you think that the international support is starting to move towards a potential 2-state solution? Is it because of the humanitarian crisis?
I think the international community is moving towards supporting a 2-state solution because a lot of mistakes the Israeli government has been doing, unfortunately. I think, obviously, one of the prime initiatives of this government has been the future security of the state of Israel, which is completely fine and is completely legitimate. However, I think other policies, like having ministers like Bezalel Smotrich and having a lot of very extremist far-right elements in this government who are actually taking a move to increase the settlements in a very bad point in time. I mean, we are dealing with a war. We have multiple hostages in Gaza, and that should be our goal right now, not increasing settlements. And I think this is a wrong move, and I think what the Israeli government should be focusing right now should be in taking back the hostages and to end this war. Unfortunately, this is not very easy when you are dealing with a terror organization which is using civilians or human shields. And also we need to remember the Hamas terror organization. They are taking all of the humanitarian supports. They're taking all of the international money to build terror infrastructure and to arm this terror organization, which is very, I mean, of course, everyone is absolutely sad about these civilians being killed. But on the other hand, if you bring humanitarian aids, this is going to go ending in Hamas' hands. So it's a very difficult situation.
Yes, Martin, we've just played a graphic on screen showing 2 locations where there has been chaotic scenes at UN aid facilities. Of course, the situation is worsening and the situation on the ground is a difficult one with desperation amongst some people looking for food. What more do you think can be done to avoid this situation where deaths are being reported? Is it just a case of more aid, or should there be more done from the Israeli side?
I think this should be coordinated between the United Nations, international community, and the Israeli government, the IDF, because I think, unfortunately, the UN has been very naive in, believing that this food and these aids will go to the right people. I mean, the Hamas organization has been using UN organizations as useful idiots sorry for the world, but it's true. All of the monetary uh, support, all of the support in general has been going to Hamas hands, and the people of Gaza have been starving, while all of this money have been going to the leaders of Hamas, in even abroad in other Arab countries which are supporting Hamas. So I think if the whole world is going to support civilians in Gaza, they should do it in a very strategic way with the help of the IDF, being sure this actually goes to the people in Gaza, not to this terror organization. Because instead of helping the people of Gaza, the international community unwillingly have been supporting Hamas by giving them all of these monetary aids. So this is a very complicated situation. It should be taken very seriously and with a very responsible way.
Yes, Martin, of course, amid the humanitarian crises being reported within the Gaza Strip, there are still over 50 hostages dead and alive being held by Hamas. And we've had overnight an announcement from US envoy to the Middle East, Steve Witkoff, that there is a new ceasefire proposal. How important is it that this effort towards peace continues amid the uncertainty on the ground and continued military operation from Israel?
Absolutely. Unfortunately, I don't see this war ending in the near future because of two situations. First of all, Hamas is still alive, and you can never talk with Hamas. They will never accept any ceasefire because they're completely willing to destroy the Jewish people in general. This is a terror criminal organization. And in the other hand, the Israeli government, you have a lot of elements like Bezalel Smotrich or Ben Gvir, who they are not interested at all in ending this war. They want to use this war for their own interest, and they don't care about the hostages. So I think we have two extreme elements, and this is going to be very difficult to keep a solution when you have two completely. Of course, you can never compare a terror organization with extreme right-wing government. At the end of the day, Israel has a completely legit government. We're talking about a moral army, even though the whole world is criticizing the IDF. The IDF is still one of the most advanced and most moral armies in the world, and you can never compare that with a terror organization. But again, I mean, when you have these elements in the government that they're not willing to accept anything for a ceasefire, and you have a terror organization in Gaza, it's going to be almost impossible to reach an agreement. So this is very complicated, and I don't think the war is going to be ending in a near future.
Yes, absolutely, Martin. Well put. Of course, it is an extremely difficult situation. I want to end our discussion on something that was briefly mentioned earlier, and this is the expansion in the West Bank. 22 Jewish settlements have been approved, according to an Israeli minister. This is seen widely as illegal under international law, which Israel refutes. Given the ongoing complications in Gaza that we've just spoken about, is this the right move from the Israeli government right now?
I think right now the right move should be to take the hostages back. I can understand the Israeli government because actually Jewish settlements and the IDF being in the West Bank can guarantee security for Israel. I can understand it, but I think right now the move should be taking the hostages back, and to also for Israel interests, economical interests, diplomatic interests. It's not good for Israel to become a country that is going to be losing a lot of allies, strong allies. Even Britain is going to criticize Israel. So I think Israel should be focused right now in not losing international allies, international support, to keep being, as it has been always, being a democratic state in the Middle East. And I think these moves should not be implemented right now. Right now, I think the war and giving Israel right now the hostages back, security is the most important thing. And regarding the legality of these settlements is pretty controversial because in a lot of the West Bank territories, you have the territories A, B, and C, which is divided by Palestinian, Israeli, and mixed territories according to the Oslo agreements. So it is not really accurate to say they are completely illegal. I just think right now is not the right time to start talking about settlements in the West Bank. We should be focusing in the hostages and ending this war.
Martin Sa Arayes, thank you as always for providing